What's up, guys? Today is day 3 of the 12 days of YouTube. We're talking about a topic I am very excited about: Alliance Wars. So from day 1, Alliance Wars has easily been my most anticipated feature. The most recent news we've heard for Alliance Wars suggests they're aiming for closed beta testing at the end of this year around New Year's, and they're aiming for a global launch around late January, early February. So first, I want to explain where this information is coming from and how that will impact its reliability. So my main sources are, number 1, statements made by an executive producer for the game in a Polygon article. I'll go ahead and link that Polygon article in the video description below. Number 2, data mines which date back to before the launch of the game. Number 3, data mines as recent as a couple days ago. And number 4, a little bit of leaked information. I'll also be doing a small amount of speculating as well. I will of course be very clear on when I'm speculating, but the reason I feel comfortable doing so is a lot of these details are really similar to Alliance Wars and Marvel Contest of Champions, which I played before I started Marvel Strike Force. And if you guys didn't know, many of the devs who work on MSF either currently or previously worked on Marvel Contest of Champions, and they do a lot of things really similarly across both games. Final disclaimer before we get too deep into this, I must stress, until we see a release, all of this information is very subject to change, nothing is set in stone, and some of this information is over a year old. In fact, some of this information is 100% guaranteed to change. And what do I mean by that? Well, there's literally lines in the data mine that say things like, generate 1 cosmic gotcha every X seconds, and it's very clearly placeholder information. But alright, so let's start from the top. So Alliance Wars are actually a battle between Alliance helicarriers. If you look at the panel for Alliance Wars, you can actually see 2 helicarriers firing on one another. If you want to do well in Alliance Wars, you'll have to coordinate with your alliance to level up your alliance itself, which will allow you to level up your helicarrier. So each helicarrier will have 12 rooms, and each room will provide a bonus and will have its own upgrade tree. In addition, officers can also change the layout of the helicarrier by changing the placement of the rooms. So rooms will have their own max level, and currently it seems you'll level up those rooms with components designated for each room. These components will be acquired from helicarrier shipments, which you'll receive as loot for participating in Alliance Wars. Currently, the data mines show each room as having component pieces that range from Mark 1 to Mark 4. So for example, one of the rooms is called the Medbay, so you can see in there Medbay component Mark 1, Medbay component Mark 2. You get the idea. No idea if those names will stay, but you get the concept. So, the reasoning behind why officers can rearrange the locations of the rooms is because each room will offer bonuses in the form of abilities, both active and passive, and a lot of these bonuses will apply to adjacent rooms or to the entire helicarrier. So passive abilities will benefit the Alliance at all times, and active abilities will benefit the Alliance specifically during a war. So to give you some examples, almost all the passive abilities generate some resource over time which you can claim, whether it's health packs or orb fragments, gear pieces for a specific origin trait, etc. And to give you an idea of a couple of the cooler active abilities, one was a % chance for a certain number of attackers to start the fight with offense up, another was a certain % chance for a certain number of attackers to start the fight with extra ability energy. But again, a lot of these are placeholders, and they literally say things like % chance for X attackers. One literally says characters gain plus 10% abilities. No idea what that means. So this is just to give you an idea of the concepts, but I wouldn't worry about any of the specifics of the numbers. But alright, so like I said, one of the rooms is called the Medbay, and the passive ability is currently called Aid Station, and it will generate a certain number of Alliance War and Alliance Raid health packs over time for you to claim. The amount generated will scale with the level of the ability, which is tied to the level of the room. The active ability is currently called Rescue Squads, and it restores a certain percentage of each defending character's health after a fight. So datamine suggests each room ability will max out at either level 5 or level 6, but of course, this is all subject to change. So it's unclear at this time if rooms will offer bonuses to adjacent rooms or to the entire helicarrier, but either way, the placement of the rooms is an essential part of war strategy. Think about it like this. You'll want to decide which rooms your enemies will have to go through to get to other rooms, and they'll always have a choice, but you want it to be a tough choice. So for example, the Medbay might be adjacent to the Armory, and the Medbay might be increasing all healing effects for any defending characters in both the Medbay and the Armory, and the Armory might be increasing the damage output of any of the characters in the Armory and in the Medbay. So you'll be forced to decide as an attacker, would you rather attack the Medbay knowing that they're getting a damage boost from the armory, or rather attack the armory knowing that they're getting a healing boost from the Medbay? Also, it would seem that certain rooms will appeal to certain types of defending teams. So, for example, the Tactical Center might offer, say, a 20% damage boost specifically to tech. And so you might want to fill that room with characters like Rocket or Iron Man. And so in the data mine, certain rooms cater to specific origin traits, but again, this could certainly change. A lot of it is just conceptual and has been in the data mines for a long, long time. So the most recent data mine saw changes to some of the room names, but currently the 12 rooms are listed as follows: Medbay, Armory, Tactical Center, Hangar, Reactor, Barracks, Cargo Bay, Missile Battery, Rail Cannon, Defensive Guns, Engineering, and the Bridge. So the Bridge seems to be essentially the boss node. There's a line in the data mine about it being worth double points when destroyed, and this makes sense, of course, because if you've taken the Bridge, you've basically taken over full control of the enemy helicarrier. So this part is my speculation, but if it's anything like Marvel Contest of Champions, this will essentially mean that, with very few exceptions, if one alliance takes their opponent's bridge and the other does not, the alliance that took the bridge is gonna win. But alright, so let's get into more of the gameplay. It currently appears that you'll be able to schedule the specific start time of an alliance war. Also important to note, currently there's a planned 24-hour lockout before newly acquired alliance members can participate in an alliance war, but that's not so bad. So each individual player can contribute up to 40 characters for defense and 40 characters for offense, which means you as an individual player can contribute up to 80 characters. As of right now, there's only 85 characters in the entire roster that you can have unlocked, but I'm sure that we're going to get a few more between now and when Alliance Wars actually goes live. Now here's the thing. Characters can only be used for either offense or defense, but not both. Which means if you use someone on defense, you will not have access to them for offense. So this means you're going to have to choose wisely, because there's no point in bringing your strongest characters to attack your enemies if your enemies will easily dispose of the chumps that you left guarding your bridge. So each room will have 2 teams of 5 defending characters. You'll place your characters in set teams of 5, and you and another alliance mate can both set defenders for a given room, but as their own waves of 5-man teams. So what this means is you can't put your crossbones next to your alliance mate's crossbones for the enemy to have to face 2 at a time, but the enemy can have to face your wave of 5 with the crossbones, and then immediately after, another wave of 5 with the crossbones from your alliance mate. But alright, so with your defenses set and your rooms upgraded and arranged, your alliance and the opposing alliance will storm each other's helicarrier in phase turns, going back and forth between attacking and defending. So it's unclear at this time how much the player will be involved in actively defending. There's some older lines in the data mine about sending in reinforcements and healing and reinforcing a room, but pretty unclear, not really any details. So you'll earn offense points when attacking, and you'll earn defense points as your defending teams damage or kill enemies when being attacked, and whichever team has more points at the end will win the war. Now there's one line in that Polygon interview that I find very confusing, and it's the statement that Alliance War will cycle daily. I believe this means no Alliance War will last longer than 24 hours. I think that was the point of saying that, but it's very unclear. What is clear is that you'll have to collaborate and communicate with your alliance mates during a war, because certain rooms will be easier to fight if other adjacent rooms are defeated by your alliance mates. So you'll have to plan out your strategy and basically have a plan of attack. You'll have to clear a designated number of squads to unlock adjacent rooms, and you will be able to see the name of the player whose team you're attacking if you want to get into a flame war with them on Reddit. Speaking of recognition, it appears there will be MVPs listed on both sides for each war. So the data mine suggests there will be leagues for Alliance Wars. So this part's my speculation, but I imagine it'll look something like bronze, silver, gold, something like that, but unfortunately we can't see the names or numbers of the leagues. But this means you'll mainly be facing alliances around your own strength, so you won't have to worry about getting horribly clobbered by the blubberiest of whales, because they'll be busy comparing wallet sizes with one another. There's also a line in the data mine about Alliance War seasons. So these will probably look a lot like raid season rewards. This part is my speculation here, but in every mobile game I've ever played, the PvP season rewards are juicy. So I hope we get some really good stuff. And one final tidbit, there's a line in the data mine that would designate if you're in a top 100 alliance for Alliance Wars. So this is another bit of speculation here, but we can already see a unique frame for your commander portrait as a prize for completing the hard mode of Dark Dimension. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw unique commander portrait frames based on which leagues or ranks your alliance obtained during an Alliance War season. But alright, so that's everything we know about Alliance Wars so far. I am super hyped for this feature, but I would love to know what you guys think. I'm planning to release the sponsor video tomorrow, so I'll be announcing the winners of all the Power Core giveaways that we've had so far at the end of tomorrow's video. And speaking of giveaways, we're only a few hundred subs away from 10,000 YouTube subs. So to enter the $10 Power Core giveaway for this video, just leave a comment and let me know how you think we should celebrate reaching 10,000 YouTube subs. I'd like to do a little something extra, by the way, if we reach it by the end of this 12 days of YouTube. But otherwise, that's all for now, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace!